Good afternoon and welcome to our Creative Campus Facebook Live, looking at our subjects for fine and applied art. My name's Andrew, I'm one of the student recruitment officers of the university, and I'm here to show you all of our facilities today for our fine and applied art subjects. So that will cover fine art, design and graphic design and art and design history. We're here down at our Creative Campus. Anybody who hasn't been here before, we've got beautiful gardens. We'll kind of get a nice shot, hopefully, in a little bit of them. We're surrounded by these lovely buildings here, and this is our cornerstone building, which is the home to our fine and applied arts. This is a nice grade 2 listed building. As you can see, some really nice big windows here. Creates a lot of natural light coming in for all of the subjects. So I'm going to take you in. Going to show you the art gallery first that we've got as soon as you walk into the building, then take you upstairs, show you some of our textiles rooms, some for design, hopefully meet some of our tutors, take you down, see some of the arts, fine art rooms, and finish up with our ceramics area. So here we are in our main kind of foyer. I'll switch the camera so you can see what's going on. The great thing about here is we actually have an art gallery live here on the campus. So you can see we've got some really nice kind of spaces here, and it's a very adaptable space. What we can do, we've had all sorts hanging from the balconies before now. We've got display work in the cabinets here, and these change every couple of months. One of the great things that we do as well at the end of the academic year, we have our final art degree show where our students actually display their own works here and all across the campus. The whole campus gets transformed into an art gallery. So our students are getting that opportunity to kind of see what it's like to actually display their work in public. So what I'm going to do, take you upstairs, be at the art studios, and then we'll be able to have any questions, get online, start typing them up. So it's a quieter day today. We have our students off for the afternoon. Everything's by swipe card. If you see me doing this, it's randomly just making sure we can get in. As you can see again, we've got very proud of our student work, so we make sure that we actually have display cases so our students can kind of fill these up with their works, examples of what they can do. So for example, here's some of the actual fine art kind of work that we're working on. So we'll go upstairs. So as I was saying, we don't have classes this afternoon, so it's a little bit quieter on campus. We do have interviews and auditions going on, so if you see anybody looking a little bit stressed, that's why we're just making sure to put them at ease for our interviews. So this is our corridor, which pretty much all the fine and applied art subjects are off. We're going to go upstairs. We'll come back down to these in a little bit. So what we're going to do, go up the stairs. If you see me kind of looking a bit tired, it's going up a few little steps here. And it may make it a bit dizzy, but don't worry, we're almost there now, which is a great thing. So we're going to go up to the textiles room, and there should be Dina, who is the head of our kind of design aspects of the course. So we have fine art, we have design. The two subjects also do art and design history, which you can do as a combined course, or you can take it with the fine art and design. The great thing about that is the whole idea is, if you learn past different techniques and what have gone on in the past, it should improve your work for the future. So we've got some of our printing runs. I'm going to flip these around now, just so you can start seeing some of the printing presses that we actually have here. Variety of different forms, so you can get to experience different work. And here's some of the examples of actually our students' work. These actually have their own little spaces. You can see how they've been improving their work throughout the time. They've had some inspirations and what's kind of inspired them. But we'll go through now and we'll kind of take you through. Oh, somebody's just said, I remember those halls. There's our accommodation through the thing. Thanks, Mark, for that. So we're going to go through into our textiles room. So as you can see, again, all the students kind of get their own workspaces. And what's great coming through here is an evolution every time you come in. Beginning of the year, these are all quite blank, and then they slowly get more and more colour kind of coming on. We've got some of our work here as well. Dino, how are you doing?
Well, Andrew, I'm all right. How are you?
Not too bad,
Good.
thank you. So, the design course, what do you think is so unique about our design course compared to maybe other courses out there?
The unique thing about our design course is it's very experimental. It's very, very broad. It's not defined by one area, so our students can move between ceramics, metal, textiles, digital media, printmaking. We teach about design fundamentals, but we really kind of push the student to think about their own visual language and develop their own body of work. So it's very broad, it's very experimental. It's about process, materials, surface, design. It can be about products, but equally it can be about many other things as well, as you can see.
And we get a lot of people, for example, who maybe express an interest and say they've got an interest in textiles and fashion, and then go, oh, so why should I do the metal and ceramics? So what would you think is one of the benefits of kind of getting to do the other disciplines as well?
I think it creates a student which is very broad in terms of their skills and what they might go on to do. So some of our students will go into teaching, but because we've got lots of different subjects within design, they can apply those to different areas. So there's a really good broad underpinning, and also the creative ideas of mixing media as well and not being defined by one material area. And that extends from also into the kind of theoretical side of the course as well, which is students will learn about art and design and graphics, and there's kind of an ethos where we see art and design as being very linked to each other. So we don't like the students to be just kind of pigeonholed by their material area. We want them to be very broad and understand where they fit within the wider art and design kind of plethora, really.
And we've seen, as we just were downstairs before, we showed the gallery off a little bit.
Yep.
And that's one of the perks as well. Would you say that students will get to display their work, not just here, sometimes outside off campus as well?
Very much so, that's it. I mean, we've got the gallery space here, which is great for students to exhibit. All 3 years, whether a first, second or third year, will exhibit in the gallery. And then there's a block which is called professional practice, which establishes yourself as a designer or a maker. So we'll give information about how to set up work, how to price work. We'll do live projects, which often involve outside exhibitions. So at the moment, we've got our second years exhibiting at the Blue Coat Display Centre. Last year, we did a project with John Lewis. We worked with NML. And all those live kind of projects involve putting up work in exhibitions and actually getting out of the university and having a live experience of setting work up. We feel that's very, very important. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. I'll let you get back to your work, and we'll go and see some of the other studio spaces.
That's great.
So I'll walk you past some of the different areas just before we go back down the stairs, and we'll have a little look at some of our fine art spaces and kind of touch and carrying on. I'll just flip the camera just so you know, so you're not getting footage of just the floors and walking down. Touching on what Dina was kind of saying there about getting you off the campus, displaying and different things, the whole point of the courses for both fine art and for design is realistically, we don't just want to train people on how to paint, on how to create something that looks beautiful. We want to create students that can be the next practitioners. So if you want to go off and get a job after you've graduated and using those skills, say like with graphic designs, going into media, you've got those skills and you can do them. If you want to go off and start your own studio, if you want to start your own business, equally you will have the skill sets to go off and do that. One of the things they quite often say, for example, is how much do you charge for your work, which is something Dino did touch on a bit there. So if you create something that's only quite small, it's only take a little bit of your time up. If you do something that's a lot larger, that's more of your time, more material costs. So how do you actually sell that piece of work that actually reflects how much you've put into it and how are you going to live off that cost? So that corridor that I showed you just before, we're going down there now, and we're going to go to one of the fine art rooms in just a second, but I'm going to divert us very slightly just into our metal work room. Now this is where quite often we'll have like our jewellery making. What we're saying therefore, you'll get people who do the textiles and say, I'm really interested in fashion, why am I doing the metal work? And we go, well, you might want to maybe create some jewellery that accompanies your kind of work. Same with the ceramics. We had some students on campus only the other week doing a taster session who did that, and it was great because they walked off finishing with all the jewellery on them. So I'm going to flip the camera around. It probably has enough of my face now. And here is our metalwork students. Now again, as we said, our students are kind of off for the afternoon now because we don't have to teach on Wednesday afternoon, so it's a little bit quieter. But you can see we've got all of those tools here. Students have their own workstations. And again, just like up with the textiles, they have their own spaces here so they can kind of keep their own thoughts together, what's inspiring them, have a good look at that. We also have the shop at the back here, so we've got staff in there, so if you do need anything, you're not too sure about stuff, you can get them sorted. We have the 3D printer, we've just kind of gone past there as well, so you can really get inspired and do very innovative designs. And what Ken touched on, we're looking at people who can mix those different mediums together. So we're going to go through here, go into one of our fine art spaces, and again, you can see a good mix of all the student work here. And the great thing I find about this campus is you never fully know what's going to be happening each day. So we've got the drama and the music as well going on site, and people will be installing different art installations. And you'll look at some pieces of work and you might not always necessarily know what it is, but you think it's really creative. So for example, we have this here, and in a few weeks' time this will start to be getting transformed to be part of the gallery for our final students' work. And what we do is equally for that is we invite a lot of the people who are really big players in the art world up onto the campus so that they can get to see our students' work as well. Help get our students that first foot in the door. Speaking of doors, we'll go through this one. And we'll come into here. So, I have Donal and Saffron here. Hello. One of our new tutors who kind of heads up the fine art side of the courses. And we've got Saffron who studies. So what year are you in, Saffron?
I'm in first year.
First year. So people who might be watching this might have been in your shoes not that long ago, really. So what do you think, Donal, is quite unique about our fine art course compared to maybe other courses that are out there?
Well, I think something we try to prepare students to be is knowledgeable practitioners. So anytime we have students come through for interviews, we're trying to communicate that that's really important. So there is a 50-50 split between fine art and art and design history, because we realise that it's really important to make that sort of link and that hinge between what you're making and what's been made before in a historical context, but also in a contemporary context, and the history of ideas as well. We're very concerned that students come out of here being really excited about what they're making, and you can see that in the studios and what they're doing in all sorts of different mediums, from laser cutting to painting to print to sculpture to relational aesthetics. Like, you name it, we're interested in it. We don't have a kind of a school of making, but we do want students to be able to know where they position their practice within the broader field of fine art once they leave.
And so now you've been here just about 6 months probably now. Mm-hmm. So how are you enjoying the course so far?
Yeah, I'm really loving it. I'd say the same thing as Donal, like the best thing about the course is that we have our studio work, but also like the history of it, so it's nice having a bit of both. And
what was it that made you pick to study here compared to all the other courses that are out there?
It was the fact that we do history, so we've got we can more look at the historical side, and you've got more practice in it, so you know what you're doing more and you've got a better idea, whereas other unis just do the studio, so that's all you know. You don't get any history into it.
And one of the things we've just literally been saying is that a great thing is you never fully know what you're walking into when you come down here. We've showed off some of the actual studio spaces here, but we're saying this is going to be transformed soon into the massive art gallery itself, isn't it, for our final year students?
Yes, so so it's a big move that happens. It's the final year degree show, so it's a culmination of the 3 years of study. So it's a chance for our students to kind of look more outward facing, and we're preparing students for that the whole time. So in second year and third year we have professional practice, which is gearing students up to be artists in the real world. So whether that means that they are working 100% as an artist, self-employed artist, or working with other artists and curators, or working with arts organisations. So we don't just just making in the studios or just the art and design history. It's very much preparing students to be artists in the real world, that professionalising of your practice. We take that really seriously, so it's part of that three-prong approach: studio, art and design history, professional practice.
And we do have some good working relationships with different key people, don't we, in the city? Like, for example, like the Tate.
Yes, yeah, we have really strong partnerships with the Tate, with FACT. So we have a residency that we offer out to students. A student who does their final year degree show is awarded a residency with FACT. And Saffron and other students in first year would have worked with FACT, doing a very interesting project using analytics from Twitter to create artworks with robots. So we're very interested in students working with sort of emerging materials and emerging processes. We're very interested in terms of working with what might be seen as traditional, 2D or 3D ways of working, or even video. Video can be seen as almost old-fashioned now. But we're very keen that students are working with what's important to them right now, not what's important to us as tutors. So we're very excited, going around the studios, being massively influenced by what the students are doing and keeping us on and checking our own studio work. So we're all practicing artists and writers within the fine art team, covering a really wide range of disciplines. So we're really excited for people to come here, and our job is to get a studio culture going, so that it's as much as students bouncing ideas off each other as it is us challenging students and pushing them.
Well, I'll leave you guys to get back on with your work. We're going to go off and see some of the other studios first now. Well, thank you very much.
Great, thanks Andrew.
And the things, I'll just flip the camera, one of the things actually you can see similarities there between design and the fine art was that getting you ready as a practitioner, making sure that you can go off into the industry. And it is great having those different links. So we do have, for example, people who will get residencies in with FACT or with the Tate at different parts of the year, and they'll be working on key projects, which is really great for their CV, really helps improve them. I'm just going to flip the camera back now, just so you can see some of the photos from one of our fine art show just a few years ago, just so we give a bit of an idea of what it's like. There will be prizes that get awards as well, so like potential scholarships, maybe if someone's going to do postgrad, part of that could be the residency. It kind of gives you, flip the camera back, a bit of an idea of what you can do. So we're going to go up and through just here now to the woodwork room. So we're going to cut through this area just so we can get, but at least you've got an idea now of some of the other facilities. And part of the things that we do train our students in is that workshop etiquette, which you'll be surprised. You think it's a lot of it is common sense, but it's a lot of things to make sure that everything's tidied up. So for example, everything's stored back correctly, that there's no dangerous tools out there, which is something that a lot of people in business, or if you're going out into the industry, want to be able to see that you demonstrate that you have that competency to be able to know you will be leaving the workshop safe and everything will be okay for future visitors. So what we're going to do, go through now, come down here. I'll quickly take a slight detour. One of the other important places on the campus that students will be always interested in is our canteen. So we do serve food throughout the day here. I think it's one of the most important parts of the campus. We do also have a Starbucks, which was in the main reception area. So we're going to come down now and take you down into the rest of the studio spaces. And again, you can see that we have our work up all over the campus. So there's lots of things to be helping to inspire the students. I'll just swipe us through. And the great thing is we do have our graphic design course, which should be brand new, starting very soon. We've got our new tutors on that. And we've just purchased some new buildings as well. So we're looking at renovating the campus over the summer. So some of these things will be getting changed about a little bit, making sure that we constantly keep improving the facilities for our students. So I'll flip the camera. Here's another bit of work that our art students are kind of producing at the moment. Then we're going to go very quickly. Again, cutting through, you can see again a bit more of the studio spaces for fine art and popping in to our ceramics room. So anybody who is interested in creating different things, obviously you can see some of our equipment here. And again, we get some really fascinating pieces of work done, from very traditional kind of stuff to nice pieces of jewellery. And again, it's really up to the students' imagination of what they do here. We've got the kilns just over on the other side. You can quickly go and see them. So whatever you produce, it won't take that long, obviously, for it to get heated up and actually something that you can use practically in your actual work and in students' different assessments. So here we go. So the key thing is, make sure, even if you're watching this later on, put a comment down. If you've got any questions, our guys on the social media will be able to get them answered for you. If you've got any thoughts, or if you've been here for an interview and you're thinking, oh, I'm not too sure if I've seen that, you can always book on for a campus tour. For those who have already applied, we also have our open house days. We've got one coming up in April. We've got one running today. If you're really quick, you can always possibly get here, but we've definitely got one coming up in April. Any questions, get in touch with our inquiry email as well, and best of luck with your studies.